Welcome to the Fraternity Social Media Podcast with Guillermo Flores. It is the Gamma episode here on Season 1. Super excited. We, of course, have to have the first ever Fraternity Social Media President, Zach Tolman, as our guest. Zach, welcome to the podcast.
One and only. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me on.
All right, so here we are at the first also ever FSM retreat. I need you to tell us a little story because you missed your flight today, but you're still here. So you've got to tell the audience like what happened, and I'll tell you what that was like for me getting that text this morning.
Ooh, okay. All right, so let me set the scene for you guys. So it's 3:30 in the morning. I wake up in Greenville, South Carolina, because that's where I'm interning for the summer at Fox Carolina. Best news station ever, by the way. I get in the car around 4:30. Grossly underestimated Atlanta traffic at around 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm probably about an hour out from Atlanta airport, and I'm just bumper to bumper, smushed in between two 18-wheelers, all the way in the left lane. 18-wheelers aren't even supposed to be in the left lane in the state of Georgia on I-85. So I don't know how that happened. Nonetheless, no harm, no foul. I'm like, all right, we're going to make it. Get to the airport, park, check my bags, go to TSA. TSA takes about, 2 years. So, and then, you go through the security line. I take out my iPad, take out my laptop, go through the screening. And then, of course, I get flagged naturally. And then it's do you want to do it in public? Do you want to do it in private? And I'm just like, let's just get this over with. TikTok. And they take care of what they need to take care of. I go on my way. Much to my chagrin, when I get past the checkpoint, I find out there's a tram to get to my terminal.
Yeah.
So I get on the tram, get off the tram. I almost said a no word. Sprinted. There we go. Sprinted to my gate, shut the door, and I'm like, all right, hey, can I get rebooked on the next flight to Chicago that you guys have? And they're like, okay, next 2 flights are full, but we can get you to Nashville, but then we could get you from Nashville to Chicago, but you won't get to Chicago until around 2 o'clock.
Yeah. And that's what happened. So then I get the text. I woke up early this morning to get some pre-work done at the day job, and then I just look to my left because I'm on a call, and I see a text from Zach, and all I can read are missed my flight, and I'm on camera with on a virtual call, and I'm trying not to share my emotions on screen. So I'm like, oh no, what happened? But I'm like, yeah, okay, great. Then I was finally able to read the text, but we made it happen. You're here now. The president has landed at the FSM retreat. So we needed to start with that story because, of course, that is what happened. And Zach, something I really admire about you still had a really good vibe in that text. You're like, hey, this is not how we wanted to start the weekend. It's still going to be such a great time. We're going to make things happen. It's going to be awesome. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. It's going to. And you got here 2, 3 o'clock. We got some traffic, but we're here now. So, Zach, I want to learn a little bit about you because you get to be the first ever president for Fraternity Social Media. So tell me a little bit about where you grew up, what high school was like for you, and then your decision to go to college.
Yeah, so I was born in Boca Raton, Florida. Those who don't know where that is, it's where the Costco guys are from. That's what I tell people now. Ariana Grande, it's her hometown as well. Was born in 2003, so I moved to this town called Troutman, North Carolina. It's about an hour north of Charlotte. In 2017, I am a graduate of South Iredell High School. I played 4 sports when I was in high school. So I played football in the fall, I wrestled in the winter, I played lacrosse in the spring, and I also threw shot put and discus for track and field in the spring as well. Excuse me. And then along with that, I was also involved in Key Club. I was the president of the Key Club my senior year.
Nice.
And then I was also a part of Fellowship of Christian Athletes. I was a student leader for that as well. So I've always been a relatively very involved person. I pretty much, from the onset, I always knew I was going to go to college because my entire life I always wanted to be a TV meteorologist. So to do that, you need to go to college, you need to get a degree, you need to get a bachelor's degree, and in some cases a master's degree. My parents are both college educated, so going to college was almost, not to say a lock, but it was 90% gonna happen. So fast forward to 2022, I took the 1 year after I graduated high school, finished my associate's degree at community college. By the way, highly recommend if you have some college credits and you're dual enrolled like I was. I had about 36 community college credits when I graduated high school, so I was like, all right, I might as well get the degree because I'm halfway there.
And that's where so many people, like, they're doing that. They're not going to school all 4 years if they choose to go to college now. But I think that's a really cool tip.
Oh yeah, and it's a money saver too. It is such a money saver. So fast forward August 2022, I land at UNC Charlotte. I somehow end up in the student union at, I think it was 8 o'clock on a Wednesday night. It's this session called Help I Want to Go Greek.
I love that name.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. It was led by Bonnie Shade, who's absolutely killing it in the world of public speaking and fraternity and sorority life. I see her stuff all the time. She's doing so well. Michelle Gabati, our director of fraternity and sorority life at Charlotte, she's doing phenomenal as well in her public speaking endeavors as well. So as far as how I ended up with KA, it was more of a where can I lead and where can I start and make the biggest impact in the shortest amount of time. Because for those of you who aren't really familiar with kind of how KA is at Charlotte, we're what our director of community engagement, Dr. Marlon Gibson, would call, we're like a family style chapter. So we're a relatively smaller group, relatively newer group. We're kind of, at the time, we were, the newer kids on the block. So with that being said, leadership opportunities were very abundant. So that very much appealed to me.
That's so interesting. I'm seeing that theme with myself, with Christian, and now with you in terms of we are entrepreneurs, we're go-getters, we want to do something a little bit different. I love that space. And we bring that to FSM, honestly, because we're building from the ground up. Every day is a new day here in our community. I did want to ask, just because something that just struck me so strongly, and I need to learn more. You said pretty much my whole life I wanted to be a meteorologist. So tell me a short story on how old you were and what got you to want to take that path.
Yeah, so I was 8 years old. It was I want to say Tuesday night in July.
Nice.
Yeah, Tuesday night in July. Your typical summertime thunderstorm where it's heating of the day. So pretty much anything can happen. So you'll have, there's enough CAPE as what it's called is the technical term, or thunderstorm fuel. This is like a kind of like a bit of not like an intro lesson, but like somewhat of a lesson in meteorology. So there's enough energy in the atmosphere for thunder because for a thunderstorm to tip off, because it's really tapping into that heat of the day. So our power went out, our dogs were freaking out. Naturally, 8-year-old me is absolutely losing his mind because it's like, okay, well, dogs don't know what to do. They're peeing all over the place in the house. Lights are flickering. I had a national NOAA weather radio that's going off. The emergency sirens are going off, so I'm like scared. It's like Twilight Zone. Once our power finally gets back on, I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch the Weather Channel because I'm gonna be informed on when this is gonna come next, and I'm gonna get out in front of it. So after that, I was always a somewhat consistent viewer of the Weather Channel. It was always either my typical like summertime like routine for TV was I'd wake up with breakfast and it would be like SportsCenter, and then when SportsCenter would like go to commercial break, I'd flip over to the Weather Channel, and then it'd be time to go to summer camp. I'd come home from summer camp. I'd watch like the 5 o'clock local news with my parents, and then after that it was evening baseball. Typically it's Tampa Bay Rays with my dad, and then once the Rays game was over, it was evening news, and then after that it was the Weather Channel because back then the Weather Channel was a lot more geared towards 24/7 weather coverage.
That is awesome. I think it's just so cool to see your passions. And tell us about what you're doing this summer, because your new headshot is like 10 out of 10. I'm like, all right, that's my boy Zach right there.
Yeah, I mean, as far as how the headshot looks, that's a credit to That's a credit to the creative people at Fox Carolina. Gray media as a whole, just some of the best. A winning culture, truly some of the best people. Our chief meteorologist down there, Kendra Kent, she's at Chi Omega actually, of Tulane University. Oh my gosh, she's amazing. Truly one of the best in the business. Fun fact about her, hopefully, one day get to hear her story. She actually graduated, her undergraduate degree was in biological sciences, so it wasn't in meteorology, but she got her master's degree in meteorology from Mississippi State. But yeah, I can't say enough good things about the people at Fox Carolina, and I can't say enough good things about my experiences there so far.
So what are you doing there interning wise? Like what is like a typical tasks or day? Because I'm sure every day looks completely different.
Yeah, so what I've done so far, because I've been there for about a month now, my first couple weeks there, I was with the digital team. So pretty much what that looked like is I would come in, I would write web articles, I would find a picture, because obviously you have to be careful with where you get your pictures from because copyright and everything. You have to be very careful with your sources. So I'll get my pictures from the database, I'll upload the article, and then usually when it comes time for the either the midday news or the 4 o'clock news, it kind of just depends on what the web manager wants. I'll clip the long weather. So that's typically in the like the D block. So that's like the second half of the show. That's like usually around the if it's like the midday news. So that'll be like around the like 11:30 hour or so. So I'll clip the weather, I'll upload that to the story, and I'll get that circulating through the website. And it's pretty much just a rinse and repeat with that. That was with digital, but now that I'm fully with the weather team, it's a little bit different. With the weather team, I'm building graphics. I'm kind of starting to get a little bit more into the flow of things with them, as I'm writing more articles for them. And we're talking about space. We're going to be talking about space weather next week. As of this recording, I'm not sure when this is going to hit the internet, but 4th of July is next week, so we're going to be talking about rip current safety because a lot of people are going to be heading out to the beach. So, and then I'm going to actually be starting to work on my resume reel, my demo reel. So it'll be a lot of me getting in front of the green screen, kind of just getting comfortable, practicing, going through the motions, because I mean it's a lot harder than it seems and than it looks.
I love hearing all this, and I already can't wait to see how we can make a wrap-up post for your internship working with FSM's VP of Alumni Engagement, Thomas, just getting that information out there because you guys are doing such great work all around the country, and I think we got to showcase that. We got to tell those stories. So I'm super proud of what you're doing in that space, and thank you for being here with us in Chicago because I know you have a million things going on, and it's just a really cool piece of what you've been doing so far. Definitely.
And part of really what got me here, and I mean I would say KA also probably got me. Not to say like it got me in the that's what got me the gig, but if anyone's ever on the fence about going Greek, letters definitely help. It helps to be involved, whether that's Greek orgs, because like I said, I mean my boss, she was a Chi Omega, and that was like literally one of the first things we talked about in like the preliminary interview process was she was like, oh, you were a chapter president, I remember when I was our recruitment chair. She was like, yeah, my grades absolutely sank, and my parents were like, what are you doing? Yeah. So is literally like, and it was literally nothing related to weather, nothing related to weather at all. We spoke on the phone for maybe 30 seconds before we kind of started talking about Greek life. And I mean, I'm actually going to be filming a podcast with her, or we're supposed to be, I believe next week actually, and I'm sure that topic will probably make its way to the surface in that podcast. We'll see. So I'm excited for that.
That is awesome. So I love that you shared you were a chapter president. I feel like that is one of the toughest leadership positions on a college campus, like fraternity or sorority chapter president. So what was that like for you, and what did you learn?
Yeah, I mean, I'm one of those guys. I'm going to tell you how it is. It's tough. It's challenging. It'll break you down. There were times where I was like, okay, well, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? But at the same time, it was the most rewarding experience that I could have had in college. So I highly recommend it for anyone if you're looking for a challenge. But as far as like what that was like, and kind of getting into the nuts and bolts of it, it's a lot of, not to say micromanaging, but it's a lot of you have, at least in KA we have, I mean obviously every organization is different. KA we have 9 exec members, including the president. So typically how I kind of ran things, and obviously everybody's going to run their e-board different. We'd meet once a week. I would have every officer give me their report, talk about what their tasks are for the week, and then it's like, okay. And then it was a lot of checking in, but excuse me, I was very fortunate enough to, as I told them a lot, I had a stable of savages. So, and I mean that, like, great group of guys. I would die on the sword for them. And I say that for all my chapter brothers too. Sorry, I'm getting a little emotional, but I would die on the sword for any of those guys. But it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and it's a lot of management.
And I love that piece, and I never want you to feel sorry for being emotional, because I think it's important to showcase our emotions and showcase that we love this experience and we love what we stand for and who our brothers are, because they're going to be with us for the rest of our lives. And I think male friendship is so important, and that's why fraternity is something that I really recommend to so many students, because I think it's really hard to be a young man out there, and your boys are going to be there for you for the rest of your life. So I appreciate you sharing that space there. I love asking this next question, because it's how did you find FSM? How did you find fraternity social media, and what that looked like for you? Because I feel like everyone always has a different answer, and it's really exciting to hear.
Yeah, so how I found FSM, so it's drastically different than like how Christian found FSM, like how Mason found FSM. Like they kind of more or less seeked it out in a way. I was always relatively involved in social media really to begin with. That was my first position that I had within our chapter. I mean, even when I was going through the new member process, I was like, hey, like, can I help out with social media? Just because social media was always, well, not to say like I'm not a guru by any stretch, but it was always somewhat of like my jam, and especially in the field that I'm going to be going into, social media is becoming more and more part of the day-to-day operations. But how I found FSM, so you actually came to Charlotte's campus in August of 2023, and we had to meet our chapter. We had to meet a quorum of guys that had to be there. I think it was like 5 guys per chapter. We couldn't meet our quorum, and I was like, oh dude, I mean I was gonna go regardless, but I was like, heck yeah, I'll go.
Can you imagine if you didn't go?
Oh yeah.
Man.
I probably wouldn't be here right now. And you guys wouldn't have entertaining content like this podcast, like the day in the life that I did, a year ago. Like my weather reports, wink, wink. But yeah, so we sat down in the bottom level of the Cone building. I remember you got into your story, you talked about Jamba Juice, you talked about, I don't know why that sticks out, and then I remember the challenge you gave us for that day was, because our recruitment was coming up, like we had about a month out until recruitment. Our recruitment was really late that year. We had to make a pre-recruitment video, and the winner, or the one, I think it was the one that you liked the best, or it was like the winner got posted on FSM. And I remember our Pike chapter, they won. Because they sprinted to UREC, which is our gym on campus. They squatted 225. It was like if I squat 225, rush Pike. I think it was if I jump in the pool fully clothed, rush Pike. A couple things like that. Yeah, it's very memorable stuff. It stands out to me because it was like, I remember I was trying to run around I was trying to keep up with my guys because at the time I had a broken foot. So I was running around with like a boot, trying to keep up with guys running, and I was filming them, and I was also being filmed, but it was also hard because I was like limping, I mean, I wasn't on crutches, but I still had the boot. And so that experience stands out to me. And then kind of really how I kind of got here, like in this position now. I remember in February of 2024, you posted on on the FSM Instagram. It was, I want to have a Zoom meeting on like, what do you guys want to see out of FSM?
Yes.
And
I forgot about this.
I like answered back and I was like, hey, I want to be a part of this. And I was on it. I remember a couple guys from Virginia Tech were on it. I'm trying to recall. I feel
literally guys,
yeah,
fraternity guys from all over the country.
across the country. Yeah, a who's who of guys from across the country. And then I remember one of the ideas I floated was like a day in the life of chapter president. And then you texted me after the meeting and was like, day in the life of chapter president, like let's run it. And then I was like, all right, yeah, I'll film that after spring break. And then filmed it after spring break. I got it to you, not to say relatively quickly, but I think it was like within a week after filming it. So I mean, in the scheme of things, somewhat quickly. And I think it does. I think it did relatively well. Like it did a lot better. I tell you this like to this day, like it did a lot better than I thought it would have. Than I thought it was going to do. And
it was just so fun, and like you showed your personality. Go check out that day in the life. It's over on FSM Reels page. It was just a really cool way to showcase who you were. And I just know there's so many great things that are going to keep coming from you, whether it be with FSM, whether it be at UNC Charlotte, whether it be with your career. And I would just love to know, like, what is one piece of advice you would leave with the audience, just whether it be fraternity or social media related or just FSM related?
Okay, I'll give one fraternity related and one social media related.
2 for 1.
So yeah, so on the scope of fraternities, this one's mainly directed towards, maybe it's the P&M who's watching, who's on the fence, because our Vice Chancellor, Dr. Kevin Bailey, always says, and he's done this, I don't want to call it a spiel, but like, 'cause that sounds kind of like, you know, like brushing it off, but like, I've heard him say this like at least 5 times. It's like ingrained in my head at this point. He's like, when there's people going Greek, there's the hell yeses, the hell no's, and then the maybes. It's the hell no's you're not going to get, but the maybes you can maybe get. It's this net I'm casting out to the maybes and the hell no's. Try it, because there's a place for you regardless of where you end up. I would equate it to, and I might get a laugh out of this, dating. It's truly like, it's true. Rush is truly like speed dating. It's truly like speed dating. You know, some breakups end messy, some relationships are messy. It's the way the cookie crumbles, but you truly do not know unless you put yourself out there. I've heard many of people tell me that, okay, well, I would not have met these people if I hadn't gone to this event, or if I hadn't followed this fraternity or sorority on Instagram. Now, on the social media side, it's more of the same song, same dance. Just do it. Just do it.
Right.
Obviously within reason.
Yes. Follow your guidelines. Do it well. Yes, you know what's right, what's wrong.
But just do it. Just do it. Be yourself. Stay true to yourself. Know your why, and you know, remember why you started, because